Hi guys, Louie here, and welcome to the weekend. What a week it has been. I have lots of things to tell you, but first off, I want to start off with why I sold gold yesterday. All right, I have been talking recently about the gold to silver ratio, and I have made a decision that in my stacking journey of both gold and silver, I'm going to start relying more heavily on the GSR to inform my purchases and my sales. And that's what I have been doing. I tend to get very optimistic when silver starts rising. Who doesn't? But that is probably exactly the time to scale back your purchases of silver and look to the GSR. So that's what I have done. And let me show you why I traded out this ounce of gold. Hold on one second. All right, there it is. I wanted to show you the back. Yeah, it's got these cute little elephants on the back. Now, when I was at the LCS, I had a really good conversation, and let me tell you what the LCS had to say as well about the current environment. But first, on the gold story. Now, this Rand refinery bar he bought with no trouble at all. He did say that, a couple years ago, this would have been the kind of thing that would have been hard to sell. All right, of course, he likes the Gold Eagles, and he would probably want a PAMP bar before he would want a Rand refinery bar. But in the current environment, when metals are flying off the shelf, and they are in his shop, despite the price drop, or you could even say because of the price drop, he had no trouble taking the Rand refinery bar. I haven't owned this very long. I actually traded a uh, a kilo, a London, but it was at a time where the gold price was elevated and the silver price was elevated. But he said in the current environment he has no trouble picking these up. He didn't even test it. So that is what I sold. Now keep in mind this was yesterday when the price of gold was it was about 1750, I think. Hold on one second. All right, here's the gold chart for the last week. And I didn't go in today when it was 1780. I went in yesterday when it was right around 1750, a hair over 1750. Here is what he paid me for that fairly generic gold bar. All right, $1,764. So $10, $15 over spot. But I wasn't complaining because my goal here is not to liquidate my gold. I actually want more gold over time. My goal here is to trade gold for silver. Now, why am I doing that? All right, here is the silver chart. As you know, we have had a massive smackdown from 28 all the way down to 23. Well, yesterday, when silver was smacked down to the lowest point it's been in quite a while, I thought, this is a good day to exercise my new philosophy of trading the gold to silver ratio. So it wasn't, I'm not sad that I missed the spike in gold because actually silver spiked as well. And the ratio stayed pretty similar between the two. But this was the low for several months, this 23 number, which I never thought we would see. I didn't think we'd break 24. And, a lot of smart people are predicting 22. That could happen. But what informed my decision was the GSR. All right, here is the gold to silver ratio for the last 6 months. And as you can see, the point that I picked up here was when the GSR was about 75.5 to 1. All right, that means that an ounce of gold, theoretically, will buy you 75 plus ounces of silver. You know what? I like that dynamic. And the reason I'm using the GSR is I want to take a little of the emotion out of my trading because I do get a little overexcited when we're on a run. And I don't know why silver is under $30. I think it's, largely political as opposed to actually based on real dynamics. But Just as we should be considering buying silver over gold right now at 76 to 1, you could also make the case to trade gold for silver. And I try to keep equal parts of gold and silver so I can do this kind of thing. But honestly, this is the first time I have sold to my LCS. Normally I sell on eBay, but I don't sell a lot of gold. And if you try to sell gold on eBay, the fees eat you up. 8% plus fees on gold is just way too much. So I would rather take 15 over spot than sell this for 1800 or 1825 and then take a 10% haircut off of that sale, if that makes sense to you. So I did pick the high of at least the week, 75.5 to 1. My goal was to trade the gold for silver. As you saw, silver is dirt cheap. But I'm not valuing my silver in fiat any longer. All right, and really I'm not valuing my gold in fiat any longer either. I am valuing them in relation to each other. Fiat is fictitious. Fiat has no backing. Fiat is burning. All right, our fiat dollars are burning, and you can all see that. But what is real is the value of gold and silver. And as you play the ratio in relation to each other, what does it tell you? And this is math. This is not opinion. That tells you that back a few months ago, say February, when the GSR was in the low 60s, all right, rather than getting all excited about, this is our move to 50 or 100 or 1,000 or whatever you believe, you probably should have said, you know what, that is a low in the GSR for the last, I don't know, 5 years. I'm not sure how low. I could pull it up for you here, but I won't bother. But over a reasonable period of time, we should at this point have been trading our silver for gold. I still contend that what we want in the long run is we want the gold. All right, the gold is what nations are built on, and countries are built on, dictators are built on. Gold is the backing to the world. It is real, it is tangible, and it is not going anywhere. Okay, silver has a relationship to it, and it is the people's money, and there is a lot of silver out there. However, it is very volatile. So to take advantage of that volatility, we should have been trading out. I think this is incontrovertible at this point, unless you are a buy, hold, and forget stacker, which is fine. That's really easy. But for those of us that like to work our stack, we should have been trading out more silver for gold back here in the 60s. Okay, now that we're in the mid 70s, I think it flips. I think it flips back to trading gold for silver. There it is, 120. If you were basing your decisions on the GSR when this happened, now most of us were kind of in panic mode at that moment, thinking our silver was going to zero. But in reality, if you had been able to trade out your gold for silver at that moment, premiums aside, imagine how much more silver you would have had back down here, and then you could have traded that back for gold and literally doubled your stack. And that is how that works, and that is what the book by Carl Yushenka talks about. But he does it in a long-term strategy. I'm talking about using the ratio tactically, even in the midterm. All right, so that's how high that GSR got. Now, let's talk a little bit about premiums. Okay, the other thing that is relevant is premiums, right? And you might say, oh, great, when it was 120 to 1 GSR, the premiums immediately went to, $10. And that was very true. These sudden shocks can create dramatic, distortions in the premiums. But if we look at most recent time, just when the GSR was let me go back to the GSR. You know the price of silver. You can see it back down here at 2350 or so. You can see why people are predicting 22. This is the last year. Here's the run to 28 when we all thought we were kings of the world. But in reality, it had made a lower high at that moment when it started dropping, and then the writing was on the wall. It was going to continue until it found support. Has it found support? I don't know. Let's go back to the GSR. If you are using the GSR to inform your trades, if you were being informed by the GSR and just looking, of course, this is the appreciation of silver in relation to gold. This is this is when silver was catching back up from that dramatic drop, and back down here is when it spiked around 28, I believe. But if you were using the GSR to inform your purchasing and selling decisions, when silver was expensive, okay, the lower the number of the GSR, the more expensive silver is in terms of gold. Fiat aside, all right, you may say 28 is cheap. I did at the time. I was buying silver, I was buying gold, I was buying, everything. But what you really should say when we get to a trough in the GSR is that silver is expensive. When we get to a top or an intermediate top in the GSR, actually a higher number indicates silver is cheap in relation to gold, which I'm still arguing is the only metric that really counts. All right, so if you were selling your silver down here, this is when premiums were the highest. Okay, and gold premiums were high, but silver premiums were way higher on a percentage basis than gold. So actually, countering your emotion and doing the opposite, and selling instead of buying, you would have captured those premiums, or in your trades, let's say you even had silver eagles, some people were trading out silver eagles at 50 to 1 for gold. Now, would you trade 50 silver eagles today for an ounce of gold? Of course you would. Premium's $5 again. Well, 7 at the LCS actually. More like 7 actually, unless they're the type 1s. But so actually doing something that feels wrong at the time is probably the right thing to do, and you're moving contrary to the market. Up here, have you noticed premiums have dropped to not historical levels, but pretty proportionally low levels? Silver eagles are the last to come down, but you can find them for 7 over spot. You might find them for 6 over spot, and spot is 23.5. You're getting eagles under $30 now, maybe even less peer to peer. So as you trade out your gold, which still has a pretty good premium, for silver, you're actually benefiting here. Okay, now what happened to me? Okay, what happened to me at the LCS was I was looking for generic silver, and I really like his vintage generic silver. That's where I've picked up A-mark bars and trade units, and he keeps them in the back, and he charges $1 over spot. Okay, unfortunately, he was sold out of melt. He was also sold out of his $3 over spot buffaloes. All right, so he was out of my melt silver, and I could not do the trade. All he had in stock was he had eagles at $7 over, which was under $30 that day, I believe. And he had maples and Canadian wildlife at 5 over. He was completely out of buffaloes and generic, which he charges 3 over. However, his vintage silver that's all dinged up, scratched up, toned, he only charges 1 over, and he keeps that in the back. That's what I was after, and had I been able to buy that, that other people had cleaned out earlier that week because the price was so low, then my trade back would have been around 23.75 or under 24, I think. Anyway, so I'm going to show you the kind of thing that you can buy on eBay. I actually bought this a few days prior when spot had dropped, and my out the door price on this per ounce was $25.75. However, and I'll show you what you can get for that amount of money. However, these became as cheap as $24.75, and then I was also able to find melt the day that the market was at its lowest it was around 24. So you know, when you trade that ratio, I don't expect to get a 75 to 1 when I'm buying and selling and trying to avoid fees on both sides. But I'm going to get as close to it as I can. And in this case, this package that I bought probably wound me up at around a 70 to 1 swap for the gold that I sold. All right, but it could have been better. It could have been upwards of 72, 73 had I hit the timing at the shop right, or had I purchased on eBay the day that I sold my gold. Now on eBay, the way that I drop my price there is I use the eBay MasterCard, and once you've made $1,000 of purchases, you get 3.3%, I think it is, off every purchase. So, you know, if you see a bar going for $25 and you use that eBay credit card, well, you're going to get that for about $24, $25. And I avoid the sales tax by buying 100 ounces in this case. And often there's no shipping charge, etc. But buying on eBay when prices are dropping and premiums are dropping, and you use that credit card, is just a triple win. And I'm planning to pour some silver, so that's why I bought this particular bar. Let me show it to you. There were many other bars, and there might have been a couple that were a little cheaper, because these are 4.9s, all right? And they're not Canadian either. Let me show you what they are. There's 100 ounces here, but now you know why I bought them, and you know how I paid for them. And once again, retailers are sending 100 ounces in little teeny boxes. Little teeny boxes. I don't really understand why they do that. I think that's a poor practice. A little box like this ought to be placed in a bigger box so it does not appear so valuable. All right, let me pop this out of here. Looks like they may have taped it in. Hold on. Go. Okay, it's a solid box, I'll give them that. Oh, look, well they're just kind of thrown in there like that with some bubble wrap on top. But let me go ahead and pull these out of here so you see what I've got. And I don't really care too much about these bars. I was talking to the LCS about these, and he said that he can't even buy them at this price. But nor would he probably buy these, because this is Turkish silver. Okay, when people go out to buy silver, there's no receipt in here, so I'm not going to read you that. But when people go out to buy silver, you know, the last thing they're looking for is a nadir bar, right? And this is made in Turkey, and, you know, it is assayed, and it is 4.9s fine. Okay, it is hard to find 4.9s fine silver at a low price. The Royal Canadian Mint probably has the best offerings in 4.9s, but people pay up for that. So I was really happy to get this Turkish silver, assayed at 4.9s, and the 10 ounce bars. And like I said, I personally paid $25.75 out the door, but like a day or two later, it was $24.75 out the door, and I could have probably got shot for less than that. But unfortunately, the shot is 3.9s generally. There's typically a deal for, oh man, like 5 kilos or something of the 4.9s, but that's just too much. But for the 100 ounces of shot, all I could ever find was 3.9s. And the 4.9s pours better and looks better. So that's what I'll be making my bars out of. Thank you, Turkey, for the cheap silver. But you'll find stuff like this getting pushed out because the market is softening now, and people will be turning to premium products. All right. Before, you would have been glad to get your sister-in-law's silver dinner plate, right? Or 40% silver, or anything you could find. Well, now the market is softening again, and the weird stuff is going to get really, really cheap. Constitutional is going to get much cheaper, and you've seen Eagles coming down. That's the U.S. Mint dropping their prices, or probably the middlemen actually dropping their prices. And I think the new this is a total aside, but I think the Type 2 Eagle is bombing in the aftermarket. You can see the price differences between the Type 1s and the Type 2s. People don't like it, and there's plenty of it out there to buy, but I don't think people are buying it. Maybe they will, under $30. I don't know. It's possible, but it's a definite swing and a miss on the Type 2 Eagle. All right, so that is my trade. I was going to do a lot of other stuff, but I cannot make a short video, so I think this is long enough at about 22 minutes. But what do you think of my GSR trade? Are you a believer in buying based on math? Do you value your metals in gold, or do you value them in fiat? I'm trying to move to a gold-based valuation system, and that's what's going to be informing my purchases and sales from now on. And, we all change our styles as we go on. We try to learn and grow, and, being contrarian does pay off. Anyway, that's what I'm doing. Let me know what you're doing. I hope you're buying some silver here down in the low 23s, or if it hits 22, even better. It is on sale in gold price, right? In its convertibility to gold, it's on sale, right? Who cares about fiat? I mean, fiat, it's friggin' $10 for a Big Mac meal these days. So, let's not worry about what the dollar buys right now. Let's build our stack of silver and gold. Bye now. Have a wonderful weekend.